Greetings, fellow Guitar-Lalians. Jeff Weinberger coming at you here with a new tutorial. I'd like to finish up our discussion of tritones and talk about tritone substitutions as used in a particular song. That was Antonio Carlos Jobim's Girl from Impanema, real famous tune from way back, Bossa Nova tune. And I did it in the key of C. His recording is in the key of D flat. Frank Sinatra does it in a different key. I think he does it in F. And lots of people have recorded it, but that original recording that the whole world knows from that Getz Gilberto album, real famous jazz album on Verve Records, that was in D flat. And so I put it down a half step in C just to make our music theory a little easier to talk about today. Those of you that are uncomfortable with flat keys or don't want to talk about a lot of things like D flat 7, flat 5, and things like that. If that gets confusing, putting it in C makes it real accessible to all. And that's my goal here, is to make music theory accessible to all. So what's going on in a tune like this? Well, you've got that first chord, and that's the 1 chord. It's basically a C chord. Everyone knows a C chord, but this is a special kind of Brazilian bossa nova voicing of a C chord. I use this a lot, not just in bossa nova, but beautiful chord. One possible name for this chord would be C6-9. So that's what he does first. He does it with a real particular rhythm too. I'm not here to teach you how to play bossa nova guitar, but that basic rhythm you heard me playing, that's kind of easy to learn. So why don't we spend a minute on that. What you do basically is you pluck the chord first. You pluck like strings 4, 3, and 2 with your fingers. And then your thumb is coming to get that bass note, which in this case is on your A string. That creates this really nice rhythm. So 2 plucks of the chord, a pluck of the bass note with your thumb, and then another pluck of the chord. So it's kind of like pluck, pluck, thumb, pluck. Pluck, pluck, thumb, pluck. Real gentle background that backs up singing really nicely and doesn't interfere with the rhythm. It kind of like lays a nice part down that helps the rhythm, but it doesn't step on it. And so using chord voicings that are in the middle of the guitar like that helps too, where you're not playing a lot of notes on your high E string or your low E string. You're keeping it on those middle 4. That has a lot to do with that bossa nova sound too. And then just the alternating bass in the chord with that syncopated rhythm. Another thing that you can do too is to alternate your bass. And so you can play the bass note on the 5th string, but then what a lot of bossa nova players do is they change the bass note over to the 6th string and then back to the 5th. So it gives you this alternating bass like this. So on and on. There's a million tricks to bossa nova guitar. I'm no expert in it. I just dabble in it. It's something that I like. But there's a lot of people that are far more qualified in this world to talk about the techniques and the specifics of the bossa nova feel on guitar. But that's part of it. All right, so you got a C chord, a C6-9. I will make some chord diagrams available. I'll probably link to a song sheet. There's a lot of great song sheets out there, real book, PDFs and that sort of thing that you can link to. So I'll surely link to some of those and give you some nice chord diagrams. So I won't go over each and every chord. I'll allow you to click on that link and get to those. Next chord is a D9. That is not in the key of C, D9. Normally we would have D minor in that spot. So that's actually kind of a tritone substitution. Instead of a G7 chord, it's the 5 of the G7 chord. But then he takes that D9 chord and makes it a D minor chord, or in my case, I like to use D minor 9. Just a fancy D minor chord. That is the 2 chord in the key. But then instead of doing G, the 5 chord, he does D flat 9 or D flat 7. Classic tritone substitution. Instead of the 5 chord, you play a chord that's a tritone away from the 5 chord. Instead of G, you play D flat. And that's classic sound. Here it is in the context. same. If we did G7, it would have been very predictable, very plain, not so Brazilian. All right, and then we move on from there, from the D9, or D minor 9, excuse me. We go to D flat 9, which leads us back to C. Very strong pull. That's what it's all about, that tension and resolution. That's why you use these tritone substitutions, to create a little bit of tension, a little bit more than the regular chords would give you. These are not way far out there, but they are a little bit more dissonant, a little bit more edgy, and they give you playing that jazz edge. And that's what bossa nova is. It's traditional Brazilian music, samba, mixed with American jazz, and it was a new style, bossa nova, new style.